achieving sustainable food production in the ecosystem. So these trees do play very many roles in the ecosystem.
Yeah. So the benefit is obviously multi-layered, expressed across a spectrum of sectors, if you will, right?
Yeah. Through that also, I just like to underscore again how this, has been a great impact in mobilizing several stakeholders, including school students at the school level and local government, because we see many government officials from here and other parts of the continent have been part and parcel of these GreenLegacy initiatives. And the campaign actually not only teaches that one, but it also aspires us to give a great emphasis on sustainable development and land management practices. And it has been well said by Dr. And when we look at this year, slogan like renewal through planting, according to the Prime Minister, he was underscoring this as a holistic approach where trees are not only a symbol of environmental action but tools for rebuilding livelihoods and also restore the national pride. Ethiopia is keeping its own legacy, everybody is putting its own finger, tips. So this means we show concern for our environment. So we belong to this nature. As Doctor said, trees provide life. And then if you see their instrumental value ecologically from agriculture point of view, they play a very integral role. And that can sustain people's life. And that's exactly what's happening. That's why many people have shown a great commitment and they are ready to upload this great initiative. And that has been galvanizing lots of people as well. And similarly, we are providing a nature-based solution for our world. As I said earlier, the world is facing challenges, and now it's a high time that we have to stand arms in akimbo and curb down the problems that the world is facing. So GreenLegacy is contributing a lot as well.
Yeah, I think you brought up an important aspect of our discussion. It creates this strong social cohesion irrespective of people's status. So students working with their teachers and farmers working alongside soldiers. So everybody is bound together with this common objective of doing something, making history, and that's planting trees.
Yeah, that's exactly. I think we are bringing also the concept of Pan-Africanism here. We want to see not only the people of Ethiopia, but the Africans from different corners, the diaspora, are becoming in the front line, trying to create a world that we really want to see. Saying, you've said very important points like bringing the social cohesion. We see by the time it has been introduced, a lot of people, despite the fact that we have a lot of differences in our country, call it politically and many other pointers, when it comes to national concepts, everybody stood with great initiatives, and we've seen that commitment being practically going on for the solution that the country wants to. And Ethiopia is not only doing this one for itself, but as I said earlier, it has plenty rippling effects that the world wants it, and that's why it has been given attention by different diplomats, people in the area of environment and many other points, and it can also align with the concept of Agenda 2063, and we can say a lot more when it comes to diplomacy and political advantages, I think.
Exactly. So, Professor, one of the things that's really appreciable when it comes to the GreenLegacy is that Ethiopians are sponsoring it. It's our own initiative without anybody supporting us, just like the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam. In this regard, what's the implication to other countries that this initiative is, instigated by Ethiopians and Ethiopians are doing it? What's the message?
Well, I think it's very clear. If you really commit yourself and if you can manage in mobilizing your communities, you can achieve goals, grand goals like this. Yes. Don't always expect someone to come in for you. You are there always. I think that is the most important message that we communicate to our brothers and our neighbors. Mostly environmental related initiatives are financed from outside sources. And I see some level of perhaps dependency or attitude of expectation, someone to come from elsewhere and help us doing something in our backyard, which attitude I think should be broken. So Ethiopia has successfully shown through this initiative, it is self-financed, It is also in terms of
yeah. I think they're telling me that our staff reporter Demis Mackrell is gonna join us live from the situational room. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be right back after our reporter Demis Mackrell. Do stay with us.
ፕሮግረስ ሪፖርት ምናቀርብበት ሰዓት ደርሷል። አሁን ከጧቱ 5 ሰዓት ላይ ከማለዳው 5 ሰዓት ላይ በመላው ሀገራችን አግሮ ኢኮሎጂ በፈቀደባቸው ቦታዎች እየተደረገ ያለው የችግኝ ተከላ በከፍተኛ ድምቀትና በጥሩ ውጤታማነት እየቀጠለ ነው። ቅድም እንደተገለጸው በ294000 ሄክታር መሬት ላይ እየተደረገ ያለው ይህ የችግኝ ተከላ የአንድ ጀንበር መርሃ ግብር 700 ሚሊዮን እስከ በአንድ ጀንበር ለመትከል አቅዶ የተሰራ ሲሆን እስከ ጠዋቱ 5 ሰዓት ባለን መረጃ መሰረት 355.5 ሚሊዮን ችግኞች ተተክለዋል። ይህም የእቅዳችን 51% ማለት ነው። የቀኑ ግማሽ ከመድረሱ በፊት ከግማሽ በላይ አፈጻጸም መድረስ ችለናል። 5 ሚሊዮን ችግኞችን ዜጎች እስካሁን ድረስ በችግኝ ተከላ ተሳትፈዋል። ይህ ከፍተኛ ውጤት እውን እንዲሆን በሌሊት ተነስተው በነቂስ ወጥተው ኢትዮጵያውያን በሀገር ጥሪ በትውልድ ተሻጋሪ ልማት መንፈስ እየሰሩ ላሉት ስራና እየተጉ ላሉት ትጋት በሙሉ ምስጋናችንን እናቀርባለን። በቀጣዩ የቀኑ ክፍለ ጊዜም ተጨማሪ የችግኝ ተከላ ጥረቶችን አጠናክረን በመቀጠል ያቀድነውን 700 ሚሊዮን ችግኝ በአንድ ቀን የመትከል እቅድ እንደምናሳካ ባለሙሉ ተስፋ ነን። አሁንም መንግስት ተጨማሪ ጥሪ እንደገና ያስተላልፋል። ዜጎች የትውልድን ተሻጋሪ የሆነ ልማት የመስራት አብይ ግብ መሆኑን በመረዳት በአረንጓዴ አሻራ በዚህ ታሪካዊ ቀን አሻራቸውን ማስቀመጣቸውን አጠናክረው እንዲቀጥሉ አደራ ማለት እንፈልጋለን። እናመሰግናለን። መድረኩን ለቃለሁ።
እንኳን አደረሳችሁ ለ2017 የአረንጓዴ አሻራ የአንድ ጀንበር ተከላ። እንግዲህ እንደሚታወቀው የአረንጓዴ አሻራ መርሃ ግብር ከ2011 እስከ 2017 ዘንድሮ የ7ኛ ዓመቱን የያዘ ፕሮግራም ነው። እንግዲህ የአረንጓዴ አሻራ መርሃ ግብር ከችግኝ መትከል ባለፈ የኢኮኖሚና የምግብ ዋስትናን ከማረጋገጥ አንጻር ከፍተኛ ጠቀሜታ እንዳለው የተረጋገጠ ነው። በዚሁም መሰረት እንግዲህ ከምንተክላቸው ችግኞች የዘርፈ ብዙ ጠቀሜታ ያላቸው ወይም ደግሞ የአግሮ ፎረስትሪ የምንላቸው ከ4.3 ቢሊዮን ችግኞች በላይ ናቸው ዘንድሮ። ከነዚህ ውስጥ እንግዲህ የፍራፍሬ ከ632 ሚሊዮን ችግኝ በላይ የሚተከል ነው። እነዚህ ችግኞች እንግዲህ የምግብ ዋስትናን ከማረጋገጥ ባለፈ እንግዲህ የውጭ ምንዛሪን ከማስገኘት እንዲሁም የስራ እድልን ከመፍጠር አንጻር ከፍተኛ ጠቀሜታ አላቸው። ቀደም ሲል በአረንጓዴ አሻራ መርሃ ግብር የተተከሉ ችግኞች እንግዲህ ዛሬ ለምግብነት የደረሱበት እንዲሁም ደግሞ ኤክስፖርት በማድረግ የውጭ ምንዛሪን ያስገኙበት ሁኔታ ላይ ያለው ማለት ነው። እንግዲህ የምግብ ዋስትናን ከማረጋገጥም ባሻገር እንግዲህ የስነ ምግብንም ከማረጋገጥ አንጻር ተጨማሪ ምግብ አይነቶችን ጠቀሜታ ነው ያለው። የፍራፍሬዎችን ብቻ ሳይሆን እንግዲህ የተለያዩ የእንስሳት መኖንም ጭምር በዚሁ በዘርፈ ብዙ ጠቀሜታ ውስጥ ያሉ ስለሆኑ የእንስሳት ሀብታችንን ከማሻሻልም ከእንስሳት ውጤቶችን የምናገኘውንም እንግዲህ ተጨማሪ የምግብ ዋስትናን ከማረጋገጥ አንጻር አይነተኛ አስተዋጽኦ ያላቸው ናቸው ማለት ነው። ስለዚህ የአረንጓዴ አሻራ መርሃ ግብር ከመትከል ባሻገር ምግብ ዋስትናን ከማረጋገጥም የስራ እድልን ከመፍጠር አንጻርም እንግዲህ ከፍተኛ ጠቀሜታ አላቸው ማለት ነው። የአረንጓዴ አሻራ መርሃ ግብር ከስነ አካላዊ የአፈርና ውሃ ጥበቃ ጋራ አብሮ ተጋግዞ የሚሰራ ነው ማለት ነው። እንግዲህ ህብረተሰባችን በነፃ ጉልበት እየወጣ ከ30 ቀን እስከ 60 ቀን የነፃ ጉልበት በማውጣት እንግዲህ የአፈርና ውሃ ጥበቃ ስራዎችን በመስራት ከ18 ቢሊዮን ብር በላይ የሚገመት የነፃ ጉልበት የሚያወጣበት ነው። ይህም እንግዲህ በበጋ የተሰራው የስነ አካላዊ የአፈርና ውሃ ጥበቃ ነው። በክረምቱ የአረንጓዴ አሻራ መርሃ ግብር በስነ ህይወታዊ የአፈርና ውሃ ጥበቃ የሚተካው ማለት ነው። በዚህም በስነ አካላዊ የአፈርና ውሃ ጥበቃ እንግዲህ ቀደም ሲል እንደሚታወቀው 54 ሚሊዮን ሄክታር በላይ የተጎሳቆለ መሬት ይሄ በተለያዩ ጊዜ በተሰሩ ስራዎች በዚህ በአረንጓዴ አሻራን ጨምሮ በተሰሩ ስራዎች እንግዲህ ከ33.6 ሚሊዮን ሄክታር በላይ እንዲያገግም የተደረገ ነው ማለት ነው። የሴዲመንት ሎድ የምንለው ደግሞ አፈራችን ተሸርሽሮ ወደ ወንዞችና ወደ ሀይቆች የሚገባው ነው። እንግዲህ ከ1.9 ቢሊዮን ሜትሪክ ቶን በአመት የነበረውን እንግዲህ ወደ 208 ሚሊዮን ዝቅ ማድረግ የተቻለበት ነው። የአፈር መሸርሸርን ከእርሻ መሬት ላይ 130 ቶን በሄክታር በአመት የነበረውንም እንግዲህ ወደ 54 ዝቅ የተደረገበት ነው ማለት ነው። ቤርላንድ ላይ ወይም ደግሞ ከገላጣ መሬት ላይ እንግዲህ በዚህ በአረንጓዴ አሻራን ጨምሮ በተሰሩ ስራዎች እንግዲህ 300 ቶን በሄክታር በአመት የነበረውን እንግዲህ ወደ 91 ቶን በሄክታር በአመት ዝቅ የማድረግ ስራ በመሰራቱ እንግዲህ የአረንጓዴ አሻራና የስነ አካላዊ የአፈርና ውሃ ጥበቃ በመቀናጀት በተሰሩ ስራዎች እንግዲህ ምርትና ምርታማነት በጥቅሉ ከፍ ያደረግንበትና የምግብ ዋስትናንም የማረጋገጥ ስራ የተሰራበት ነው ማለት ይቻላል። አመሰግናለሁ።
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. That was a press briefing from the situational room highlighting some of the most important benefits of the Green Legacy initiative and the work that people have been doing, which have been valued at billions of trees when it comes, billions of birr when it comes to restoring land that have been degraded, and also the activities that people have been working in, the unanimous work Ethiopians have shown from all walks of life when it comes to planting trees, and also the various benefits of the Green Legacy initiative when it comes to ensuring food security and other multi-faceted benefits, and including job creation, and also the strong societal bond that Ethiopians have unwaveringly shown. So we're going to continue our discussions, ladies and gentlemen. Professor, let me come to you. And what did you make out of this press briefing that we've just heard that has been transmitted in Amharic?
Okay, what I captured is, well, I think the progress so far made in this single day campaign is amazing. In the early morning, significant proportion of planting has already taken place. This update is to the nation. I think that's an important information to communicate. Second is, well, the benefit of planting these trees in the landscapes in terms of ensuring the country's food security, in terms of diversifying income source for local communities, in terms of also keeping the ecological balance in the landscape was also shared by the experts there. So this updates, this information is really very, very important to be shared with
that's a great
the larger.
Yeah. So let's continue our discussion. Going back to our discussion, as you know, Ethiopia made headlines over the years by planting billions of trees, especially between 2019 and 2021. I think it's planted between 18 billion seedlings between these 2019 and 2021, which is amazing and remarkable. So I'm curious, how effective has the follow-up and monitoring processes were, especially when it comes to sustaining the lives of these trees planted? What are some of your observations?
Thank you. Yeah, I think that is again the most important aspect of this huge national planting campaign. You plant, but if you don't follow up and if you don't have the right figure on the survival rate, then it's difficult really to talk about the benefits and also the gains. The seedlings do cost a lot. A single seedling costs us quite significant amount of birr until the planting stage. So that means we have to recover it in such a way that environmentally, socially, economically has to pay back. So that can happen only when those planted seedlings are survived and grown to a full tree.
Yes.
Therefore, the follow-up and the monitoring and recording is very important. As I said at the beginning, yes, it was very ambitious. Maybe this the follow-up could have been not that well planned, but over the years, maybe after the second year, I remember we started recording the locations of the planted seedlings.
Wow.
And also, once you have the location, the geographical location of each planted seedling, that means the national body that is managing this does have the access to check each and every seedling, whether that seedling has survived or not, has grown to the full tree, what have you. Not only that, the other lesson that we learned over the years is whoever plants those trees should own them and make sure they grow.
That's their responsibility.
That's the responsibility. Okay. You and me, if we plant, I think we have our own plants to take care of.
Yes, exactly.
So every organization, every individual who plants those trees takes the responsibility also to go and manage and to check and also provide the necessary protection and also management so that the seedlings can properly grow. So this is another important lesson that we learned through the process to make sure these seedlings have grown to full trees and provide the intended benefits.
Wow.
So this year, even to the extent, all planting holes are now geo-referenced. So that means it is easier to really track the survival rate.
Okay.
How many seedlings
so you're
have...
telling me that we are using scientific
Exactly.
means of
Technology. Technology.
That is amazing, yeah.
Yes, I think technology now, it has come down to our mobiles.
That's great.
You can report live. This is what's happening today.
Okay.
So they are reporting live exactly on the spot, which seedlings are planted where. So the central database has this information already. So it's easier to track later on, 1 year after or later, or even in between. Anybody can go and check those seedlings, the well-being of those seedlings.
Interesting, amazing.
Yeah. So yeah, we take timely action.
Yes, that's interesting. So now Ethiopians are, of course, planting today millions of trees, and this is being supported by, as a professor said, scientific evidence, which is really amazing. And as you have been following from the press briefing statement from the Situation Room, shows that the progress is really amazing. What do you make out of this opinion?
Well, in my view, this itself, tells a lot of things. Now, the GreenLegacy initiative is, passing the continental, border. It's not only becoming Ethiopia's concern or the government concern. It is mobilizing lots of people from the grassroots level and going beyond. Then, while we are preserving the environment from different problems like that of the climate change, and we need to come up with, and we've come up with, as the press release tells, we've come up with at a time that we need to have a different perspective in how we can utilize this GreenLegacy initiative into another way of making life, which is one, by securing food self-sufficiency, which Ethiopian and African leaders are working, because for many years Africa has been under the helps of a lot of European nations through donations and many other things. But this is a right time that we call it make or break time, that all Africans come together by the great leadership that each continent has, and Ethiopia as leading its example. We have to guarantee the food sufficiency. One way of doing that is by participating in this kind of legacies. Plus to that, when you do this, you are going to create a job opportunity. And of course, it has already created job opportunities for millions of women and users. And so now the dimension is changing to that perspective. Not only planting trees, but we need to use it to the industrial level. And a time that everyone can possibly get best practices of getting a job and becoming entrepreneur and establishing a certain industry whereby such kind of activity can possibly promote the growth of the countries at a higher extent.
Yes, exactly. So not only are trees being preserved and taken proper care of, but also Ethiopia is planting indigenous trees, and that also speaks volume in itself, because this is another benefit, because Ethiopians are planting trees that can not only help the environment, but also help the people, right?
It does, because from trees we get lots of advantage, as it has been expounded by a doctor. And one thing you can see that tree planting actually changes the captivating atmosphere of the landscapes, which is going to contribute a lot of things for people. You'll have also clear air, as the world is grappling with climate changes. Doing so would restore to have anyone to get access for fresh water. In the meantime, work on preventing soil erosion. So its advantage outweighs its disadvantage.
Yes.
And we can also see this from tourism point of view. We can talk about green tourism and many other points. So a lot can be said as far as the GreenLegacy initiative.
Yes. Yeah. One aspect of Ethiopia's GreenLegacy initiative is its popularity among diplomats and the international community. As you know, whenever leaders come to Ethiopia, they plant trees. This is also something that's really admirable when it comes to the diplomatic aspect of the GreenLegacy initiative. In this regard, what are some of the diplomatic messages Ethiopia is conveying to the international community through the GreenLegacy initiative that you've observed?
Well, I strongly believe that ever since this has been on the table by the Prime Minister, it does not only show such advantage to the country, but it has mobilized a lot of diplomats from within Ethiopia, outside Ethiopia, the diaspora community from Africa, Western nations have actually practically become part and parcel of these great initiatives. Why? Because we're talking about this collaboration. So the GreenLegacy initiative has actually indispensable role when it comes to political benefits, because we're talking about the initiatives that actually strengthens Ethiopia's image as leader in a climate action, as well as sustainable development.
I think I'm sorry to cut you off, ladies and gentlemen. We will continue our discussion, but we'll be right back after this. Do stay with us. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. You're still watching our special live coverage on the event of Ethiopians planting millions of trees in a single day, 700 million to be exact. And we have been spending some time with Professor and my colleague, and we'll continue our discussions. Do stay with us, Professor. So far, as you know, Prof, over 40 billion trees have been planted across the country, which is really amazing and which, of course, speaks volume by itself. So how well do you think the Green Legacy initiative has addressed environmental issues and the challenges, especially at such a time that our world is grappling with climate issues?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, indeed. The most important benefit out of the Green Legacy is environmental benefits. Yeah. Just to really list down, the prominent one is addressing climate change. For instance, capturing the atmospheric carbon dioxide, and also maintaining the soil which is already captured in the soil. Is one significant contribution. Yeah. Okay. The other one is restoring the degraded landscape. When I say degraded, you know, in some areas degradation is measured in terms of the loss of the productive capacity of the land. If a land has lost, let's say, 30% of the productive capacity, then it is not economically beneficial. Therefore, the tree planting campaign has effectively really reversed the downward degradation of land and ecosystem services in major landscapes in the country. Yeah. That is another benefit when it comes to restoration. The second one is diversifying our source of livelihoods. As I said, not only the direct benefit that we get from the trees, but the indirect benefits in terms of capturing water. Now Ethiopia is expanding irrigated agriculture during the dry season. So where does that water come from? It's from the landscape. Yes. You know, obviously, so the planting of these trees in the critical ecosystems, in the critical watershed catchments, really is one significant contribution to the groundwater recharge. So making sufficient water available for irrigated agriculture. Well, if I put it in terms of number, if I tell you one example, for instance, a single tree, when the seedlings that we plant today, a single capture or sequester 49 kilograms of carbon dioxide in 10 years, single tree. And in terms of oxygen production, a single tree can provide about 120 kilograms of oxygen in 10 years. Wow. So multiply this in terms of 40 billion seedlings that we have planted. Yeah. So you can imagine the amount of carbon capture that we contribute to reduce climate change. So that has multiple effect in all sectors. All right. So not only nationally but regionally, globally, we are contributing in addressing this critical.
So it has ripple effects, obviously.
Yes, very much. Yes. So yeah, I think numbers can tell a lot. So this by itself indicates how much these trees are contributing in the entire landscape. I think we can really list down all the ecological and economic benefits, social benefits, if we have the time to list them down. But
that'd be huge.
It's immense. My colleague has already said it. The ripple effect is huge.
It's tangible.
One is linked with the other. So if you have the environmental benefits, if you have the restoration successful, then you have well-balanced ecosystem services, then you have sustainable food production, then you have a thriving community. You know, that has ensured its future, its sustainable food production, self-sufficiency locally. So all these are interconnected.
Yes.
Yeah. Perhaps I'm sorry but if I have to ask the doctor, what is going to be the contribution of like having the Green Legacy initiative when it comes when it is related with forestry and keeping the idea of wildlife concept is?
Thank you. I think the part that we have not mentioned so far is the contribution it really brings in restoring our wildlife. The ecosystems are all interconnected. One component is dependent on the other. The ecosystems are built from the single individual, then populations, then communities, then you have the entire ecosystem. So when you have the forests, the associated plants will come in, and all the nutrients will be restored. That means all the animals that depend on these plants will come in, and the wildlife will gradually restored to the extent of large fauna, especially the microfauna already. That means small microorganisms. Once the microclimate is changed to favorable conditions in terms of temperature, in terms of moisture availability through the presence of the trees, then when you have microorganisms, then you have food available for other organisms to come in. So the wildlife impact is also huge. Habitat restoration. When you think of at the landscape level, at the larger landscape level, why not all wildlife that have really left the country will gradually really return back, especially in the natural forest ecosystem areas. There is a chance that we will see the restoration of the recovery of this wildlife, and eventually we restore the natural habitat for this resource.
So obviously the benefit is multifaceted, and it goes across a spectrum of sectors, which is really appreciable. Thank you so much for helping us understand that better. Let me take you back to the Green Legacy initiative benefit when it comes to its diplomatic message. I think it's been speaking volumes when it comes to the diplomatic activities that this East African nation has been doing. In this regard, could you walk me through some of the achievements that Ethiopia has notched up so far?
Yeah, true. I think in this regard, as a citizen, I'm also very proud, honestly, when I see my country leading in this greening the world, not only the country, not only the continent, but greening the world. So no country has so far really done what Ethiopia has done. And the neighboring countries are also really taking the lesson from us. And our government is also putting a lot of effort, and also trying to make it a regional initiative, a regional revival, recovery, not only a national, by engaging them in this noble initiative. So if I give you examples, Kenya, for instance, in 2023, our government has really successfully engaged the Kenyan government, and Kenya now has already set the 15 billion planting challenge by 2030. By 2030, in 10 years. So they are also going through this annual campaign to plant 15 billion, to achieve 15 billion trees. So that is one exemplary achievement. Our neighbors are buying it also. And the other multilateral organizations, regional organizations like IGAD has really already shared to its members that the Green Legacy initiative is one prominent avenue for environmental recovery, environmental restoration to follow. It has taken it as exemplary achievement of Ethiopia that can be shared and that can be taken over to the other neighboring countries. So at IGAD level, there is really a significant buy-in. And at AU level also, if you remember, the former chairperson of AU, Musa Faki, was on the forefront in promoting the Green Legacy initiative, its success, and also encouraging and leading other countries to follow in all relevant forums. I can also mention one prominent example from AU. The former Agriculture Commissioner of AU also was also one example, because It's not because Ethiopia has simply wanted to do that, but by looking at the success, by looking at the
it's setting an example.
Exactly. How a country can achieve if it is really determined and committed, and if the leadership is playing the role. Yes. So that is quite a lesson for our neighbors and to learn from. And other countries, I think Sudan, Egypt also, when it comes to the Nile, for instance, the catchment, the upper catchment, the watershed, really does benefit a lot from this initiative. We reduce the loss of water. Through this we can achieve the long-term sustained flow of water through the Nile river if we manage to successfully restore and rehabilitate the landscape so that water can properly flow through the ground and surface system, which will not be lost through evaporation, or which will not be lost through runoff. Yes. So this has to give a lesson for our neighbors. Of course, there was some commitment from Sudan as well. I remember we even went to the extent sharing seedlings. Well, I forgot to mention Ethiopia has also donated about 2 million seedlings to Kenya, and our Kenyan brothers, just to really show off support and
to encourage them to do that.
Exactly, yeah. And same with Djibouti. A diplomatic community representatives have gone to Djibouti, have gone to Khartoum to really initiate the GreenLegacy spirit there. Well, I think at some point when Sudan really recovers from its current situation, hopefully it will follow suit in achieving such a goal. Yes, okay. So there is a lot of take on from our initiative. Not only that, at every global stage, especially during the COP meetings, Ethiopia is also very keen enough to share its experience, to show what we have done in this nation, and also for others to learn from this. Yeah. So I think in that regard there is a lot of buy-in from multilateral organizations, regional leading organizations, and also neighbors, and also even other countries coming from other continents, looking at the progress a country has made. They are taking lessons. Okay, it is doable, but yeah, it's something to be seen in the coming years. Yeah. Well, if I mention one example, honestly speaking, I think many things are learned from China's experience. I think one thing that can be learned from China is this land restoration. I think this is good to know and for others to learn from. There was a part called the lowest plateau in China. It was a very, very large landscape. Okay. The size of 3 times the size of France, if I'm not wrong. So that landscape was barren due to years of erosion. All the vegetation on top of that land was gone, and what was left was just bare soil. So China has managed, this was in the 90s, China has managed to convert that barren land.
To restore it.
Yes, restored it in only less than 10 years. Wow, honestly, this is a story to be shared and to be seen. The information is available elsewhere. Okay. So that is one good example. If a nation is determined, if a nation really comes out in such motive and in such level of community mobilization, you can achieve really miracles. That is one miracle I can really mention of. That land now, this lowest plateau, is a source of fruits and all sorts of export level vegetables and fruits from that landscape, and it's a thriving ecosystem now. So that's one good example that others can learn from. I'm sure by the next 5 years, by the next 10 years, the Ethiopian landscape would not be less than what I have just mentioned. It would be a source of so many ecological ecosystem benefits, and also contributes to our efforts in ensuring food self-sufficiency in the near future.
Yeah. So Ethiopia.
Before that, maybe if I have to add tips of the iceberg on the concept how it can actually enhance Ethiopia's diplomacy, and why many African diplomats, leaders of different continents, especially in Africa and the Western, we have seen them practically here. Because I think this idea, not only golden idea, it's like something which is not common. Because many a times when you see something common, it's cheap. But this is a new idea that Ethiopia brought to as an agenda in the Africa Union. And this has been, galvanizing, as Dr. said, many African leaders. And the very first time they see this one as a call of action when the Prime Minister and the CD administration were, underscoring this idea, Africans were so ready. Because through the Pan-African spirit, they started to, collaborate. And then Ethiopia benefits its diplomacy, because we call it, there is soft power. It enhances lots of advantages when it comes to such issues. And this initiative, of course, as a sustainable leader in the climate change, contributes a lot as a national pride and as a political legitimacy at home and abroad. Similarly, it also brought diplomacy, and we see nations enhancing bilateral relationships going beyond, because there are also countries who are conscious of environmental issues. So such countries are always 24/7 ready to play a hands-on role, and that's exactly what they have done. And they're so happy to become a part of these solutions, and then strengthening Ethiopia's efforts. And the other things we have seen as a continental level, because one of the agenda of Agenda 2063 is seeing the Africa we want. So African nations have come together, they collaborate. We want a world where everybody can be beneficial from the development. Every single development that's happening in the whole world can benefit a lot of people. And Ethiopia and the leadership has shown that by example. Okay? So I think it all enhances diplomacy, political decision making, and more importantly, as Dr. himself said, it shows where and how the Ethiopian leadership is all about. You can align this also with the Paris Agreement. Ethiopia sets an example, and in meeting its own objectives as to how to curb the environmental issue related points. So people say, what can I do for tomorrow? But this is more than forever, I can say, because by itself, legacy by itself is like, you see the end in the mind. So that not only today, but we see more tomorrows coming up and then becoming a solution for the problem. Vision. And then we see the Africa we want. I think we'll come down the road on that concept.
Maybe,
go ahead, Professor. Please.
Just to add, I mean, Ethiopia has always been at the forefront when it comes to environmental restoration, and also showing leadership in the fields of climate and biodiversity. I think the Green Legacy has really put Ethiopia also at the forefront in leading the global community in for instance, achieving the global targets. All those sorts of targets, like the targets, the new targets in the GBF, the SDGs, the Agenda 2063. All these are really interlinked with this huge initiatives that Ethiopia is embarking on. Therefore, I think that leadership, starting from the preparation and being serving as a model in the CRGE back in the past years, we have maintained that role, that global role so far, and this one really galvanized that leadership. I think we are also very keen to share this experience in all forums. You can take the recent example, the past COP29 in Abu Dhabi. I think that was a very great forum opportunity where Ethiopia has shared and shown this leadership and commitment in the environmental field.
Please.
I think I just wanted to add that.
On top of the diplomatic concept, if I have to add a little bit on this, we forgot, I think, to mention this initiative also attracts green investment. As we know, the Ethiopian government has expounded the importance of green investments, and we see industrial parks are being established and contributing a lot of things when it comes to green tourism and expanding lots of advantage for the growth of the country. And we see also job creation under this. And nowadays in Ethiopia, several industrial parks in green development are going on, and different investors from various parts of the world has shown keen interest that the Ethiopian government has created open door policy where they can come and invest. This means, in other words, a lot of people who are living in the country, they can benefit out of the endeavor. So this means everybody is going to be self-sufficient in benefiting from overall activities.
Yes. Professor, one of the things that one of the amazing, wonderful things that you brought up is CRG, climate resilient green economy, which Ethiopia has been pursuing over the years. As you know, Western countries, especially Europe, are heating up, and sometimes the heat is really unbearable. And I think that the GreenLegacy initiative can give them some examples and some encouragement in order to come up with lasting solutions. What do you make out of this?
Yeah, if I get it perfectly, you mean to get the buy-in, or?
Yeah.
Yes. Well, the CRG was very prominent when Ethiopia launched that strategy back in 2011, and the buy-in from international partners was huge, and the support that followed was also huge. And in that regard, I think we have achieved a lot. The GreenLegacy has really set the foundation for all the environmental movement that we are making, and also the actions we are taking in all the sectors in building the resilience in addressing the impacts of climate change. So similarly, the support for the CRG was, as I said, huge. The buy-in was also huge at the same time. And we have also used the opportunity to really expand our actions, to adjust our plans, and also do some actions that are impactful in changing the environment. Same way, now the GreenLegacy initiative. So far, I think, as you have said, as we all know, no outside support, so much support was put in for the GreenLegacy initiative. But as I said, the GreenLegacy initiative, as can be witnessed from its impact so far, and also from the prospect in addressing climate change, securing finance from available sources, especially from the Green Climate Fund, and also the Adaptation Fund, and also others bilaterally, should also be able to support this initiative. What Ethiopia is doing is not really for the benefit of only its people, but it is the impact is beyond the continent, beyond the nation. It's global. You know, 300 to 350 million tons of carbon can be captured in the next 10 years because of this 40 billion trees that Ethiopia has planted. What does that mean in terms of contributing, reducing climate change, impacts of climate change, or even curbing the progress of climate change in the future, in the coming decades? So this has to be supported. This has to be encouraged, and those who are with the means, the resources, the finance, should also really line up and support the country and this initiative. So there are many other initiatives where such supports can be aligned with, not necessarily directly involving in the GreenLegacy initiative, but other regional frameworks, other global frameworks, like implementing the NBSAP is one good avenue to come in supporting the nation, in encouraging the nation. The adaptation plan is also there. The African Landscape Reforestation Initiative is also there. All these are avenues where a buy-in can be achieved, and also support can be provided to encourage and also promote what Ethiopia has started at a continental level.
So how does, I'm sorry, Farah, but how does that actually strengthen continental collaboration?
Yes, well, I think there are these frameworks, continental frameworks, and continental targets. Take, for instance, the one I mentioned, the African Forest Land Restoration, Landscape Restoration Initiative, and the Green Belt are also initiatives where this cooperation and collaboration can be strengthened and built on. So what Ethiopia has done in the Green Legacy is really part and parcel of all those initiatives, all those continental goals and targets. So there has to be a strong support and collaboration from all parties at continental level.
That's interesting.
Yeah, interesting point. As you know, Ethiopia is trying to showcase its greening efforts in different global platforms. In this regard, how properly is this East African nation promoting its green legacy initiatives whenever it has the chance to?
Come again?
So how is Ethiopia promoting its the Green Legacy initiative? How is it promoting? And what kind of response has it gotten from world leaders? Of course, you touched upon that.
Yes.
And how is it properly making the best out of it when it comes to promoting it?
Yeah, I think, as I said, Ethiopia is doing the best. Its best in all available forums to really share its experience. It's keen enough to really showcase what it has done, what it has achieved, and also how it has done it. In all forums, the forums like I mentioned, the COPs, both CBD and the UNFCCC COPs, those are the kinds of forums where Ethiopia is aggressively showing what it is doing and how it did it.
Yes.
And also all the possible avenues whenever there are this regional scale or continental scale meetings that take place in Addis. Ethiopia always takes the courage to really show the experience that it has gotten from this initiative and show the results. We are not shy that in telling our brothers elsewhere, this is what we have achieved. Whatever you learn from this, please, you are always welcome. And our leaders are always aggressively selling this idea. This is a show of commitment. This is a show of dedication to the environmental cause at the global scale. So this is how we really respond. Not only we talk the talk, but we also walk the walk. We practically have shown what can be done, and support us or align with us, and come and let's do it together. Let's care for our earth together, our environment together. So this courage and this drive is always there. I'm surprised to see our leaders at different levels taking advantage of any forum where there is an opportunity to really share this experience. Our experts as well.
And it was also accepted with open arms in the first 36th extraordinary session of the African Union, when Ethiopia brings in all African leaders from different parts of the world have seen that as a concerning issue, because we're not, as you said, Professor, you've explained it, we're not talking about only Ethiopia's issue. It's the world, a global phenomenon. So everyone have to be there. And that has been, I think, acclaimed by different top African leaders, diplomats, and because when you see in African summits, we see a number of agendas, but it has been in question mark. Not has been implemented in a way that brings solution for the continent. But Green Legacy initiative like this, it shows its effect practically, mobilizing a lot of people. That's why the African Union and concerned bodies are giving it a due emphasis, and progressively lots of advantage is going to come. And then I think that's what's required, and this is of course a high time that we have to promote our country. And then to make sure that this is going to be successful, I think it requires a collective effort. Not only the Ethiopian people, the government and other stakeholders have to be playing a hands-on role in order to see its effects at a larger scale. And hopefully, if things goes like this, it's going to work out. And then that's my strong belief.
Yes,
I think just to add upon. As one example, it's notable to mention it, the recent visit by the vice president from the state of Nigeria.
Yeah.
You know, he was taken around. And
also the Prime Minister of Italy.
Yeah, the Prime Minister of Italy just recently, days ago. And especially the Nigeria one I mentioned, because I think, if I'm not wrong, we have sent that our guest with some seedlings as a show of symbolic solidarity. Yes, and also to really inspire and encourage to initiate such campaign in Nigeria as well. I think His Excellency, the Vice President, also committed and promised that Nigeria will really come in and join this Green Legacy movement at national level. So that's one good example. And not beyond the planting of the trees, what Ethiopia is trying to do, and thanks to the leadership again, greening the environment. It started from the backyard, everybody's backyard, the state backyard. I mean, as a citizen, as a national, it really feels very, very good and very proud to see such change, marvelous change in short period of time all around our backyard. And that really, the ripple effect at other regional cities, and also the greening is not only in the urban landscape but also in the cities, in the urban environment. So yeah, all that adds up to the Green Legacy and the entire national movement. Also.
So in this regard, you know, when people green their backyards across the country, how does it eventually change the landscape across the country?
Obviously, I think one can simply imagine after 10 or 5 years even down the line, the trees that we planted in 2019 are now, I think, at the so-called tree stage. So what does that mean in terms of the broader landscape? Those mountains, those small hill slopes that we used to see bare and barren, even during the dry season, just bare soil. That is changed now. That is completely changed now. The proportional change in the forest cover in the country, as has been also really assessed and nationally reported, has increased significantly from somewhere 16-15% to 23, 27, 24, 25% now.
Definitely.
Maybe more, a bit. So that means a lot in terms of changing the entire landscape. Not only that, I think the impact is also in reducing the rate of deforestation in the natural forest ecosystem. Not only that, I think the impact is on people's mind. If your mind is not changed, nothing can happen, honestly. I think the change in the people's mind, in the people's perception, from every walk of life, the attachment we have with trees, with our environment, with our nature, has really changed significantly. So everyone is aware of what it means when it comes to your environment.
Exactly.
You know, when a mountain really is restored and recovered, when people see streams are recovering and the springs are coming back, so that is awakening, awakening the
clarion call.
Yes. So this is a much more significant impact than what you see the physical coverage. The change in the behavior and in the attitude and in the understanding of nature, the attachment we have with nature.
So just as a backup question, how do you see this playing, especially in protecting important natural resources of our country, such as the Abai River? How important is it so far in this regard?
Very, very important. You know, I think, again, what I appreciate in terms of taking this Green Legacy initiative to that important watershed, important landscape. Now we have the Grand Renaissance, which extends the reservoir, the water in the reservoir extends 250 kilometers along the flood line. So what does that mean? 250-kilometer line of landscape which feeds water to, apart from the main channel, the main Nile, but the surrounding small streams are also flowing down to this reservoir. So unless you really successfully protect the catchment, the sediment that is going to be washed from rain ends up in the reservoir. That means in the long run, we don't know when. Of course, it can be calculated, and you can have a proper figure to tell that the reservoir would lose the capacity to restore water. That means the base will be filled up with sediment, and then eventually the water holding capacity will be reduced. So Ethiopia has already taken proactive measure in preventing that. I think there is a national committee, as far as I remember, taking care of this aspect, and also a campaign in restoring those important catchments which feed water to this noble river, the Blue Nile.
Yeah.
So whatever we do in that landscape, in that catchment, in that important catchment, is protecting and preserving the sustainable utilization of our water resource in the Nile. Not only that, we are also benefiting our brothers in the downstream area, in the downstream part of the Nile. We are protecting them from floods. We are providing them sustained, balanced flow of water over the coming years. That can happen only we successfully really stabilize the entire catchment, the entire watershed that captures and feeds water to the reservoir or to the Blue Nile. So it's very important, significantly important, and we are doing actually the practical actions on the ground in stabilizing and preserving the landscape to prevent it from erosion, and also making it a sustainable agricultural and natural landscape.
Interesting. Perhaps, Shife, if you allow me, let me ask Pro these questions. We know the fact from the very onset, the government of Ethiopia left no stone unturned in making things happen. And you were talking about how transformative it is when it comes to changing the Ethiopian landscapes. And then a very good example is Addis Ababa. Addis then and now are completely different. And we can see also the landscapes, the environment through GreenLegacy. It has, conveyed a lot of messages. And speaking of greenery, we've seen the great initiatives and what's happening in this regard. Industrial parks and also other initiatives like the Sugar Park, Friendship Park, and many others are also a result of the GreenLegacy aspect. Ever since that has been introduced, we see many changes when it comes to green tourism. So what does it mean in promoting Ethiopia's green tourism, and what is it, the message that does when it comes to tourist-based activities? Because there are tourists who come only for nature-based tourism. So in that regard, what indispensable expectation is put in front, or what must be put in front in promoting Ethiopia sustainably in enhancing the green tourism aspect?
Yeah, excellent. I think when we talk of tourism, first we have to really first encourage the local tourism. I don't think of people from outside, any color, targeting them when we do these changes locally. But for me, that tourism starts from your neighborhood, okay? There are people who do not even know their neighborhood, maybe 5-10 kilometers away. But now...
It should be far.
Yeah, I mean, that culture, that behavior was not there. Now, looking at the change on the streets and the
parks,
the parks, the corridor change, you see many number of people walking kilometers after kilometers now. That is tourism for me.
It is.
That is tourism. Yeah, you go out, you spend time with nature, and also you also contribute to the local economy, isn't it? Then comes the outside landscape, outside of the city. Okay, when it comes to the outside landscape, the rural landscape. Again, you have to also focus on the local people, the citizens first. Citizens have to be able to really go out and enjoy. Take Ntoto, for instance. Take the other landscapes now. Yes, exactly. People have started developing these habits. That is tourism, isn't it?
It is,
yeah?
absolutely.
I don't have to really think of someone coming from kilometers away, thousands of kilometers away from the country, but I can think of someone coming from a neighboring town to visit Addis. That is tourism.
Yeah, domestic tourism.
Domestic tourism, yeah. We can promote that in so many ways. That has a significant contribution to the local economy, in driving the local economy.
Absolutely.
Okay? Then comes thinking of bringing tourists from outside, attracting tourists from outside. I think those kinds of tourists are more interested in natural landscape. I think the Green Legacy will, especially the initiatives that was done through Gabat al-Hagar. Koisha and the others. Those are the kinds of hot spots for the tourists coming from outside. I think all these are interlinked together, you know. Encouraging local tourism and also promoting
green tourism,
ecotourism, for instance. I think we are just really taking off. A lot is there. The potential is also there. So many magnificent landscapes are not really exploited in terms of ecotourism. By simply having a nice road through the landscape, without even putting other structure, you can bring lots of tourists who are willing to spend their money in going through natural landscapes. The only thing you may require is a nice road, maybe some nice
accessibility, infrastructure.
Stopover places where people can really rest and go, and security, of course. And if you put this in place, I think we can really further develop and promote TAP. Tourism is one of the smokeless industry, isn't it? As they call it. Very untapped in Ethiopian case, unfortunately. But I see a lot of optimistic and potential growth in this sector, which our government is also strategically taking that as one of the economic pillars to build the country's economy. So combining the green legacy and the corridor development, the greening initiative all across the nation can really boost the tourism industry, not only expecting the external tourists coming from outside, but the local tourism, which I believe should be promoted as well, for the benefit of building healthy society, healthy community. You know, we are so much detached from nature by not really going out and visiting and looking at nature itself. You know, when you go out, you feel like you are intimately connected with nature. Urban centers are so much disconnected, especially when it comes. But when you create this opportunity for people to really go around and see nature, then that behavioral change, that perception will be changed. Then healthy society can be built over the years. I think we are on the good move in that regard.
On the right track, Yes. So, Professor, where do you see the Green Legacy initiative going, in the future, especially when it comes to international nature-based discussions? Where do you see it headed?
Well, I think the Green Legacy is not anymore an initiative. It has become now a regular practice.
Day-to-day activity.
Yes, I think it has to really be aligned with the regular planning in all other sectors. Now it has to become a regular activity. It has gone beyond the initiative. So when it comes to nature-based solutions, the concept of nature-based solution is treat nature, restore nature using nature. Okay, you don't have to go anywhere in restoring nature, but use nature. So nature-based solutions are those solutions which basically contribute in addressing climate change, in reducing greenhouse gas emissions, and also in promoting the atmospheric carbon capture. And the second best contribution from nature-based solutions is maintaining or restoring biodiversity.
Exactly.
And the most important one is providing livelihoods, alternative livelihoods. You know, people have to benefit from nature, you know. So all those solutions that we think of, we implement, we design, have to really contribute, have to meet all these three goals. Yeah, curbing climate change, and also maintaining or restoring biodiversity, and diversifying livelihoods.
Yeah.
Where is the Green Legacy initiative in this regard?
Yeah.
It's in one way or another, it's one major part of nature-based solutions.
Exactly.
You know, whatever you do in terms of planting, and also in terms of targeting suitable species for the different purposes, you are just practicing implementing nature-based solutions.
Sure.
Okay, so it's not different than what nature-based solutions are aimed for.
Absolutely.
Okay, we have said it already.
Sure.
The environmental benefits, the climate benefits, the biodiversity benefits of Green Legacy initiative, and also the livelihood diversification benefits of the Green Legacy is just really indirect way of implementing or achieving, promoting nature-based solutions.
Yeah. So how do we create man and nature relationship, or symbiosis relationship, where a man can recognize the contribution of nature when it comes to its health by, you know, protecting the environment from dangers, like we have said it earlier?
Yeah, I think in three ways. One is our relationship with nature is because we have three important values that come from nature. One is the ecosystem services. The ecosystem services, name it, air, food, water,
the basics.
what have you. Yeah, all those services that we get from nature has to be there always. Without nature, we can't live. Second, our cultural development, our cultural evolution has been, as a society, wherever people live, has been attached to nature. There is no culture without nature, isn't it? Yeah, our culture really emanates from nature.
Yeah.
Okay. And at the same time, if you don't really maintain nature, nature needs itself to sustain, isn't it? Isn't it?
It is.
Yeah. We are exploitative naturally. We exploit nature to ensure our survival, isn't it? That is the contribution from nature. But at the same time, nature also needs itself. If you take an ecosystem, all those other integral parts of the ecosystem are necessary for the ecosystem to maintain itself.
True.
So nature needs itself to maintain. Therefore, what does that mean? We have to proportionally leave nature for itself to recover, to maintain itself. We have to be in a balanced manner. We have to be able to also manage those needs, those services that we get from the ecosystem has to be maintained, sustainably managed, you know, the services that we get. And also we have to also practice our culture, isn't it? When people are detached from nature, they lose everything. So how do we balance this relationship with nature? By having proper preservation of nature, isn't it? We have to conserve nature. Take people who practice whatever, call it, religious rituals that is directly connected with nature. What happens when that part of nature is lost? They lose also their culture, isn't it? So that can only be maintained when nature is preserved.
So how do we promote, Professor?
Yeah, I mean by promoting protected nature protection. One of the targets of the global biodiversity framework after the post-2020 framework is maintaining 30% of a country under nature's protection. They call it 30 by 30.
All right.
Okay? This is a global movement. All countries required, or the globe as a whole. 30% of that part of the globe should be preserved for nature. Why? Because nature needs itself to recover and to perpetuate, okay, to continue providing the services we need from nature. All right? So at national level, I think Ethiopia has, in this regard, done a lot in the past, but we can also do a lot in the future. This 30 by 30 is establishing protected areas. Not only establishing, but properly managing the already established protected areas, but putting now, look, this GreenLegacy initiative, it's converting those barren mountains, okay, open mountains that are left for degradation, are being restored. You know, that's part of it. Yeah? We are also contributing to our commitment to the global community in achieving this 30 by 30. I think if we continue this planting and restoration down the line up to 2030, definitely we will be one of the countries who will achieve this global target. 30% of our country. I think we are somewhere around 17%, probably. So the rest, I'm sure, will be fulfilled by putting more landscapes into protected areas.
Interesting. Maybe, Shafi, allow me to ask one more question, and then I really appreciate Professor for expounding this at large. And then the fact that we have talked a lot at length, giving great emphasis for the ripple effects of the GreenLegacy, but how do we also inculcate that to the education sector, bringing them to the curriculum? Many times in Ethiopian education, we have seen that we get familiarize ourselves with different countries' endeavors through, geographical activities and telling the stories, but how significant is bringing the GreenLegacy initiatives and inculcating to the Ethiopian curriculum so that people, children from school level, from the grassroots level, will learn a lot and continue its legacy year by year, so that at the end of the day we see the Africa we want.
Professor, as a follow-up question, Mary said that the GreenLegacy initiative should be included in the curriculum of the country. Also, as a scholar, what's your take on that?
Yeah, I think that's one strategic way to make it sustainable and to be owned by the future generation. And also to put it in the minds of the young generation that their nature, their environment matters a lot. And also what we are doing now is for their own sake in the future, for their own survival. So, in the education sector, it can be done, in my view, in two major ways. One, I think I'm very happy to look at the revised school curriculum. I think much of the environment subjects have really captured these issues, the issues of environment, climate, biodiversity very well. If you look at all across the high school and the primary education curriculum, in the revised curriculum, I'm happy to look to see these issues are well captured. So the curriculum is in one way or another already ready in preparing the future generation towards understanding the value of nature and also the role that we play in maintaining, or the role that these kids play in maintaining nature. That is one, I think, in terms of the curriculum. When it comes to higher education, I think also there is always periodic review of the curriculum. I think many institutions do that every 2 years. There is, because there are new concepts, new knowledge already out there, so it's quite a practice in the higher education system to review the curriculum. So this is happening regularly. So that is one way to really include new ideas, new concepts into the curriculum. But the most important way is to really encourage engaging schools, especially young kids at the primary, secondary, or pre-high school, to have extracurricular activities in schools. The curriculum is mostly very much crowded with the regular teaching, The extracurricular activities are very, very important. That's where they open their eyes. That's where they learn a lot. Taking them to the physical environment, taking them like to the parks, and encouraging them to discuss among themselves, to really appreciate and learn nature freely for them. So this classroom-based teaching has to be well aligned with practical exposure.
It has to be tailored.
Practical exposure. now this has become a culture. I see after the establishment of the parks, Unity Park, name it, Sugar Park, or the Friendship Square. And also, I see, I'm based at the College of Natural Science. I see every week lines of buses bringing small kids visiting our herbarium at the biology department and also the zoological museum. This is very encouraging. Not only these educational facilities, but taking them to nature. That's also becoming a common practice by schools. This is the most important instrument to really make the kids get connected with nature. I think that is the most important part. The education leaders should encourage and promote the extracurricular activities during the school breaks, or even in the middle of the semesters. This can be combined for those particular topics like biology, environment, all this, not only discussing the theory in class, but taking them outside, allowing them to touch plants, to really touch the soil, feel the environment, make some measurements. Yeah, exactly, but connect them. That is most important than what is in the curriculum.
Wow. Exactly. Professor, we really appreciate your time. We really enjoyed your insightful and your scholarly views, and thank you so much for those ideas. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much. It was really a great pleasure for me also to come and share my experiences in this, as I said, important day of the country.
Yes.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, sir. This is really history in the making. Ladies and gentlemen, we will continue our coverage, and our staff reporter, Goshu Maliso, has just sent us the following report. Take a look at it, and we'll be right back.
Initiative spread by Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed was launched in 2019 to combat climate change and to restore environmental degradation. Ethiopia has been making various preparations in order to plant tree seedlings across the nation. Today, people, all walks of life, are planting tree seedlings to plant 700 million tree seedlings across Ethiopia. Today, the House of People's representatives, staff, and senior government officials has planted tree in the Arat Kilo area. So to tell us more here, I am joined by Dr. Nuguse Meshasha, Secretary General of Professional Affairs. Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you very much for having me, Goshu. It has been a very important event, and Ethiopia has been making an immense change with regards to working on the climate change challenge of the world. As we all know, today our government and Ethiopian people together, they plant 700 million seedlings of different species of trees. With this, Ethiopia is becoming a champion. It has been making great records in the world scenario with regards to climate change mitigation efforts. And we, as House of People's Representatives of the Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia, has come here to Arat Kilo area, and we are planting trees, and we planted trees of more than 500 species of trees. Some of them are trees of non-food items, and some are with food items, including avocado, mango, and different species of trees. So you can imagine that this is a great or is a massive effort done by our Ethiopian citizens, and the government has been dealing with this very important and seminal work in the last 7 years.
Not only Ethiopia, many other countries are facing these climate challenges. So it's not only for one country. What is your view on that in order to collaborate and mitigate climate change, in mitigating climate change in collaboration efforts at regional level too?
As we can easily figure out how the world has been being challenged today with climate change and global warming, the sea level and the rise of ocean has been much observed in many parts of the world. Even in the developing countries, in the developed countries, they have been, experiencing tsunami and typhoon and other, global challenges, which has been threatening the very survival and existence of citizens of the world. So all countries should give keen emphasis, keen attention for addressing climate change issues. This can be addressed mainly with afforestation efforts. So our country's effort and the efforts championed by Dr. Abiy Ahmed, the Prime Minister of Ethiopia, has been very seminal, and it has been a very exemplary work. So this has to be done by all countries of the world, and this effort has to be supported by the international organizations, including the UN, the African Union, and it has to be supported by many of the organizations and countries of the world, because this is something, a threat to the very survival of human beings, so it cannot be left for one. So the Ethiopian government's effort has to be supported by the rest of governments in the world and by all international organizations which have keen interest to work with regards to mitigating climate change and the rise of the world temperature.
Since the GreenLegacy initiative started in Ethiopia, I think it has been 6 years, and we're at the 7th, I think. Or what major results have been achieved in your view?
In my view, as you explained, the GreenLegacy initiative, which has been embarked by the Prime Minister as one of the exemplary work he has done so far in the country, and it's an exemplary work for Africa. And as you last time witnessed, Ethiopia has not been limited to its own territorial boundary, and it has been reaching out to the Horn area, to the greater region of the East African region. And we have contributed millions of seedlings in Djibouti and in other countries of the region. So this effort is very, very magnificent, so we need to work on that one. In Ethiopia alone, in the past 6 years, we have made a greater contribution to our economy and also to the world's climate change challenge by planting trees. And we've been examining as a layman, of course, that the climate change or the being dry in some areas has been changed into places of better moisture, and conducive situation has been created, and the rainy season has improved a lot, and this means it would help to fill the dams that we've been building. For example, you can take the Grand Renaissance Dam, and the dam has been filled without any significant change in the volume of water that drains or flows to the downstream countries, including Sudan or Egypt. So this is one of the very important work which has been taken as the contribution of the planting efforts of our government and the people. The other is, for example, in Ethiopia, the productivity has been increasing today. As we all know, today, this year alone, Ethiopia has made more than 1.2 billion quintals of productions. So this has been a very great improvement. It's a very great record which has not been observed. Before 2 years, it was only 800 million quintals of production which has been collected. So this has got direct and indirect relation with climate change efforts.
The GreenLegacy, how it serves as a unifying factor for development?
What the people do is they came out from every house early in the morning, despite the showery rain in the early in the morning. Everybody walked out and came out to the places where seedlings are being planted, and everybody is doing, and everybody has contributed a lot. So this is a very exemplary practice. It's a very exemplary thing which can be taken as a model for many of the countries which follow the footsteps of the Ethiopian government and the people with regards to climate change and on. So Ethiopians.
The GreenLegacy initiative, spread by Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed, was launched in 2019 to combat climate change and to restore environmental degradation. Ethiopia has been making various preparations in order to plant tree seedlings across the nation. Today, people, all walks of life, are planting tree seedlings to plant 700 million tree seedlings across Ethiopia. Today, the House of Peoples represent.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. You're still watching our special live coverage on the occasion of Ethiopians planting millions of trees, 700 million tree seedlings to be exact, within a single day. And now my friends from the Arabic department will take over. Do stay with us.
مشاهدينا الأعزاء، مرحبا بكم في هذه الحلقة المتميزة والخاصة التي أعددناها لكم بمناسبة بصمة الخضراء وحملة غرس الشتيلات التي تبلغ عددها أكثر من 700 مليون شتلة. وهذه الحملة التي نقوم بها باستضافة اليوم إثيوبيا في مختلف أنحاء العالم، وهذه هي متميزة بالنسبة لنا. وتغرس هذه الأشجار تحت شعار النهوض مجددا بغرس الأشجار. وسنكون معكم في هذه التغطية المباشرة أنا كوثر سراج وزميلي حسن أحمد، ونتمنى لكم أن تبقوا معنا وشكرا لكم. حسن، اليوم إثيوبيا تستضيف أكبر حملة لتشجير أكثر من 700 مليون شتلة في يوم واحد، وهذا فرصة لنا وهذا يوم تاريخي للشعب الإثيوبي، حيث يتم غرس كما قلت غرس أكثر من 700 مليون شتلة في يوم واحد. نعم حسن، ومنذ 7 سنوات قامت الحكومة الإثيوبية بإقامة مثل هذه الحملات، أي بغرس حملة الشتيلات في كل عام، وهذا يوم تاريخي لإثيوبيا، وتم غرس عدد كبير من الشتيلات، وأصبحت الآن البلاد كلها خضراء. وكما ترى كل محل عندما تمشي تزور أي مكان كلها أصبحت يعني خضراء، وكانت هذه الغابات كانت تندثر، لكن حاليا تسعى الحكومة الإثيوبية لإعادة هذه الأشجار إلى ما كانت عليه من قبل.
نعم الأستاذة كوثر، نعم اليوم حدث بيئي عظيم تشهده إثيوبيا، وهناك كثير العديد ممن شارك، وتهدف يعني غرس هذه الملايين الشتيلات في يوم واحد، 700 مليون شتيلة في إثيوبيا. هذا يدعو إلى الفخر والاعتزاز، وكل الشعوب خرجت إلى يعني غرس هذه الشتيلات. هو طبعا يهدف إلى غرس هذه الشتيلات إلى الحفاظ على البيئة وتحقيق الزراعة المستدامة، وهو إرث أخضر وبصمة خضراء من خلالها يستطيع الشعوب غرس هذه الشتيلات، وهو بناء اقتصاد أخضر قائم على الزراعة والتنمية المستدامة. ويأتي هذا البرنامج، برنامج البصمة الخضراء، ضمن رؤية الحكومة الإثيوبية لتوسيع الغطاء النباتي وتحسين جودة الهواء وحماية الموارد المائية عبر مشاريع بيئية استراتيجية تنفذ في مختلف أنحاء البلاد. وتأتي هذه الغرس في مسعى لتعزيز الاستدامة البيئية ومكافحة التغير المناخ. فيوم عظيم، حدث بيئي جميل جدا أستاذة كوثر.
نعم، وتقوم إثيوبيا أيضا بأنشطة غرس ضخم للأشجار في إطار مبادرة البسمة الخضراء التي أطلقها رئيس الوزراء الدكتور أبي أحمد. وكما تعلم تم غرس الشتيلات اليوم كجزء من الحملة المستمرة لزراعة أكثر من 700 مليون شتلة في يوم واحد. بدأت هذا الصباح كما رأيت حسن، وهذه المرة يعني تغرس فيها كل سنة في الشهور الأخيرة بتقويم الإثيوبي، شهر خريف. وهذه للمرة السابعة على التوالي تغرس هذه الأشجار. حسن، اليوم في الصباح الباكر وعندما نأتي إلى العمل كنا نرى عدد كبير من المواطنين يتوجهون إلى مختلف الأماكن التي تم تخصيصها لهذا الغرض لوضع بصماتهم ولغرس الأشجار التي يعني حدد عددها لهذا اليوم. وكان يعني الناس صغارا وكبارا رجالا ونساء كلهم كانوا يتوافدون إلى هذه الأماكن، ونشاطهم يعني يشجع، يعني كأن كل الناس التي تمشي في الشارع يعني تندمج إليهم. وهكذا كان اليوم في الصباح عندما جاءين إلى العمل رأينا الناس كلها يعني نشطاء ويتوافدون بعدد كبير لغرس هذه الأشجار، لأنه يعني رأينا كل الناس رأى يعني فائدة هذه الأشجار، يعني آثارها في التغير المناخي معلوم. ولهذا حسن اليوم يوم تاريخي للشعب الإثيوبي، ونتمنى هذه الأعداد كل سنة تزيد.
نعم، هو حدث جميل جدا. حتى أنا قبل يعني حضوري إلى الاستوديو بدأنا بغرس هذه الشتيلات في الأحياء القريبة من بلاده. بصراحة منظر جميل، منظر هو يعطي للإنسان الطبيعة الجميلة، حتى أنك تغرس يعني بكلتا يديك هذه الشتيلة حتى يتعاقبها الأجيال ويكون بصمة خضراء للأجيال القادمة. طبعا المبادرة البصمة الخضراء أهميتها في مجال بناء الزراعة المستدامة ودولة خضراء، وإعطاء هذه البصمة للأجيال القادمة حتى تستمر كل سنة. أكملت إثيوبيا بنجاح يعني في دورتها الأولى أو في الفترة الأولى التي حددت من قبل الحكومة الإثيوبية خلال 4 سنوات غرس 25 مليار شتيلة في إثيوبيا في خلال 4 سنوات. ويشار إلى أن تغطية يعني هذه الغابات قفز إلى أكثر من 17%، ويعطي تحقيق هذه الغرسة الشتيلات بسبب الزراعة المكثفة التي أجريت على مدى السنوات ال4 الماضية. صحيح أستاذة كوثر، اليوم كل الشعب الإثيوبي، كل أطياف المجتمع الإثيوبي خرجوا في يوم واحد لغرس هذه الشتيلة، 700 مليون شتيلة في يوم واحد. وتقدم هذه المبادرة فخامة الرئيس الوزراء الدكتور أبي أحمد، وفخامة رئيس الجمهورية الرئيس تايس قسلاسي، والسلك الدبلوماسي، ومكتب الرئاسة، مكتب رئاسة الوزراء، وكذلك المجتمع الإثيوبي ككل في إعطاء هذه البصمة الخضراء وغرس هذا. طبعا عندما نغرس هذه البصمة الخضراء أو الإرث الأبيض لها يعني مكانتها ولها أهميتها ولها كذلك تعاقب الأجيال من خلال هذه البصمات. وهذه رؤية الحكومة الإثيوبية التي كانت ناجحة في بداية 4 سنوات، والآن في السنة السابعة تتواصل هذه الرؤية، وإن شاء الله بإذن الله في خلال هذا اليوم ينجح الشعب الإثيوبي في غرس هذه البصمة الخضراء
إن شاء الله. طبعا حسن، وما زالت الجهود متواصلة أيضا لتعزيز الغطاء النباتي في مختلف أنحاء البلاد. وأيضا تعد هذه المبادرة إحدى ركائز استراتيجية إثيوبية مناخية، يعني حيث تهدف إلى مكافحة تدهور الأراضي وتحسين الأمن الغذائي والتصدي لآثار التغير المناخ. وهذا طبعا يلعب دورا حاسما من أجل مكافحة الحرارة التي يعني عادة تحصل في بعض الدول. على سبيل المثال نتذكر يعني قبل عامين الحجاج بيت الله الحرام في وقت الحج يعني كانت درجة الحرارة مرتفعة جدا، وقد يعني استشهدوا أكثر من 1300 شخص. وكذلك الفيضانات والحرائق التي تحدث مثلا كما حدثت في كاليفورنيا، والحرائق الكثيفة اللي تأتي كلها هذه آثار تغير المناخ، يعني اندثار الغابات اللي تحدث من وقت لآخر تأتي بهذه الأضرار. وعلى هذا الأساس إثيوبيا الآن يعني تقوم بهذه يعني حملة لمكافحة هذه التغيرات الحرارية يعني. وكذلك حدوث الفيضانات يعني تكثر في أكثر الأماكن وخاصة في أمريكا وعدد من الدول
وغيرها من الدول كثير.
أيوة ولهذا يعني تشهد هذه الأماكن يعني تغيرات المناخية يعني لا ترجع يعني أضرارها بما لا يعقب عقبها. ولهذا إثيوبيا الآن تقوم بهذه الحملة لينفع لكل يعني.
نعم أستاذة كوثر، صحيح المبادرة هذه مبادرة عندما تم إطلاقها من قبل فخامة رئيس الوزراء الدكتور أبي أحمد وغيرهم كانت مبادرة في محلها ووقتها، لأن هذه البصمة الخضراء أو الإرث الأخضر هو برنامج يعني يعطي أهمية كبرى لتغير آثار المناخ. وكما ذكرت أستاذة يعني قبل سنتين تم إحداث أشياء كثيرة في الحجاج وتوفوا بسبب ارتفاع درجات الحرارة وبسبب عدم البصمة الخضراء، وهذا يشهد ويعطي
በየቦታው እየተከሉ ነው። እኛም ተክለን የመጣ ነው። አሁን ደግሞ እዚህ የካተራ ላይ ተከልን ያለ ነው። እዚህ ጋር ለየት የሚያደርገው ቀደም ብሎ በእርከን ሲሸርሽር የቀረበው አፈር እንዳይሸርሽር እርከን ተሰርቶለታል። ምን ተክላቸውም የተክል አይነቶች ኢንዲጂነስ እና ፍሩት የሆኑ ናቸው። ወደፊት ዋጋ እንዲያወጡ አካባቢን ጠብቁ እንዲበሉም ጭምር የሚያግዙ ናቸው። አሁን ግማሽ ቀን ቀትር ነው። አሁን ባለኝ መረጃ 500 ሚሊዮን ችግኝ በላይ ተተክሏል። እቅዳችን 700 ነው። በቀሪው 6 ሰዓታት ልክ እንደ ጠዋቱ ተረባርበን ከሰራን ካቀድነው በላይ ልናሳካ እንደምንችል ምንም ጥርጥር የለውም። ይሄ ቁጥር እያንዳንዱ ጂኦ ሪፈረንስ ስላለው ልክ ሲተከል አውቶማቲካሊ ነው ዳታ የሚልከው በቴክስት እና ምንም የሚያሰጋ ዳታ አይደለም። አክሮስ ካንትሪ ሴት ወንዱ ትልቅ ትንሽ አዛውንት ህፃን ሳይል እየተከለ ነው ያለው። ይህንን ነገር በጀመርነው ፍጥነትና ኢንቴንሲቲ ከቀጠል በሚቀጥሉ 2-3 ሰዓታት እቅዳችንን እናሳካለን። ሰዓቱ ገና ነው፣ ግማሽ ቀን ነው። አየሩ በጣም ቆንጆ ነው እና እንቀጥል፣ እንትከል፣ እናቅድ፣ ደግሞ እናሳካ። ከስኬት ከኤክስኪዩሽን ውስጥ ነው ከፍጻሜ ውስጥ ነው ውጤት ያለው። ቁጭ ብለን ስላሰብን ስለጻፍን ስላቀድን ስለተናገርን ብቻ ሳይሆን ስንሰራው ስንፈጽመው ነው ውጤት የሚመጣውና እያንዳንዱ ሰው እስካሁን የተከለ እንዲደጋግም ያልተከለ ደግሞ ወጥቶ እንዲተከለ ቦታው ችግር የለውም። ሰፈሩ ላይ አካባቢ የሚመቸው ቦታ ሊሆን ይችላል፣ ግን መትከል አስፈላጊ ነው። አሁንም ብዙ ሊተከልባቸው የሚገቡ ቦታዎች እንዳሉ ያው ያሳያል ሁኔታውና በመትከል ፍሬ ያፈራን ነው፣ ውጤት እያመጣን ነው። እንድንበረታታ፣ እንድንሰራ፣ እንድንተክል እቅዶቻችን እንድናሳካ አደራ ማለት ፈልጋለሁ። እስካሁን ያለው ውጤት በጣም ተስፋ ሰጪ ነው። በቀሪ ሰዓታትን ይሄ እንደሚቀጥል ተስፋ አደርጋለሁ። እጅግ አድርጌ አመሰግናለሁ።
وأثناء قيامه بغرس الشتيلات قال رئيس الوزراء الدكتور أبي أحمد إن إثيوبيا تقوم بهذا العمل الرائع ليس لأنها دولة غنية ولكن شعبها غني. قمنا للعام السابع على التوالي بغرس الشتيلات بأعداد مختلف، واليوم نقوم بغرس 700 مليون شتلة في يوم واحد، وهذا رقم قياسي في العالم. ونحن عندما نعمل بهذا الشهود متضافرة نهدف إلى تحرير أنفسنا ونتحول من دولة كانت تنتظر مساعدات إلى دولة تحقق الاكتفاء الذاتي بالغذاء. وأردف رئيس الوزراء الدكتور أبي أحمد وهذا طبعا رأينا ثمرة في كثير من المجالات وخاصة في مجال البن. وطبعا اليوم يعني من غير الأشجار التي تم غرسها أكثرها من البن والأفوكادو ومثل هذه الفواكه. ودعا أيضا رئيس الوزراء الدكتور أبي أحمد إلى التعاون في الجهود المبذولة والخروج معا كبارا وصغارا نساء ورجالا لتحقيق هذا الهدف وتسليم دولة غنية للأجيال القادمة حتى يتمتع بحياة أفضل. وهذه كلمة رئيس الوزراء الدكتور أبي أحمد التي قالها أثناء غرس الشتيلات، أي مساهمته في غرس الشتيلات يعني كعادة.
مما لفت انتباهي يعني
نعم.
يعني كلمة فخامة رئيس الوزراء الدكتور أبي أحمد قال عندما نغرس الشتيلة لابد أن نغرس أفكارنا طموحاتنا، ولابد أن نكون في أرض الواقع نعمل، وبالعمل يأتي النهوض مجددا بغرس الأشجار. يعني هذه دعوة من قبل فخامة رئيس الوزراء أن الإنسان لابد أن عندما يغرس هذه الشتيلة سيغرس أفكاره طموحاته أعماله، والعمل هو ليس فقط يعني قولا وإنما يكون فعلا. وغرس الأشجار هذه تأتي بعديد من الفوائد التي تعود على بلادنا وتصب في الشعوب الإثيوبية، وكذلك يعني يعتبر كما قال رئيس الوزراء يعتبر يعني هذا نموذج يحتذى به في القارة الإفريقية السمراء وكذلك في العالم، ويساعد على بناء الزراعة المستدامة في بلادنا إثيوبيا.
طيب ما رأيك حسن؟ يعني نذكر للمشاهدين يعني معروف فوائد الأشجار، لكن نختصر بنقاط عن فوائد الأشجار للعين. مثلا يعني أعزائنا المشاهدين يعني نختصر فوائد الأشجار ببعض النقاطات. أولا تسر العين، فمثلا الأشجار لها مظهر جمالي يجعل منها لوحة جمالية ربانية تحول المكان الذي تتم زراعته بأشجار لمنظر طبيعي. وثانيا تساعد زراعة الأشجار على تحسين جودة الهواء بزيادة تصل إلى 10%، مما يساعد على تخفيض الأوزون بنسبة 7 أو 3%. تعمل زراعة الأشجار على إزالة الكربون من الهواء لأنه يتم امتصاصها وتخزينها في جذوع الشجر والأشجار والأوراق. تعتبر زراعة الأشجار من إحدى الطرق الفعالة لسحب ثاني أكسيد الكربون من الغلاف الجوي، فيمكن أيضا أو يمكن فشجرة واحدة تمتص ثاني أكسيد الكربون بمعدل 21.6 كيلوغرام لكل سنة، وتطلق ما يكفي من الأكسجين، أي تطلق ما يكفي من الأكسجين في الهواء مرة أخرى في الغلاف الجوي. الأشجار أيضا تساهم بنسبة 60% من الجسيمات المنبعثة في الأبخرة المتعلقة بعوادم السيارات في الشوارع المليئة بالأشجار. فإن الأشجار أيضا تساعد على علاج العديد من الأمراض ذات تأثير إيجابي على سرطان الجلد والربو وارتفاع ضغط الدم والأمراض الأخرى. أيضا تشكل الأشجار حاجزا طبيعيا لامتصاص الصوت وتقليل التلوث الضوضائي غير المرغوب. والتنوع البيولوجي والأشجار يعتبر جزءا من الموائل الطبيعية التي تجذب الطيور. هذه بعض ما كلها، لكن هذه بعض فوائد الأشجار. حسن يمكنك أن
نعم، هي فوائد عظيمة دكتور أستاذة كوثر، فوائد عظيمة، فوائد طبيعية، حدث طبيعي. الإنسان يرجع إلى الطبيعة ويجد الكثير من الفوائد العديدة، وكذلك هناك فوائد عظيمة مستدامة من خلال غرس هذه الشتيلات. هناك كذلك فوائد يعني من ناحية الدينية. الإسلام يعني يدعو نعم إلى غرس الأشجار، وفي حديث الرسول صلى الله عليه وسلم يعني من كان في أحده فسيلة فليغرسها. هذا من الناحية هذه من الناحية الدينية ما يعني عدا ناهيك عن الفوائد العظيمة من خلال هذه. فالإسلام يحث على غرس هذه الأشجار، وكما قال الرسول صلى الله عليه وسلم من كان في أحدكم فسيلة فليغرسها. ويعود على هذا أولا هو طبعا منهج نبوي ومنهج ديني، وكذلك رؤية حكيمة من الرؤى التي تقدمها الحكومة الإثيوبية لكي يعني ينهض الشعب مجددا بغرس هذه الأشجار. يعني هناك فوائد لكن الوقت ليس هناك متسع.
كما يمنع يعني قطع الأشجار من غير أسباب.
نعم.
كما قلت الوقت يداهمنا.
نعم.
ممكن يعني هنا يعني نختم.
نعم مشاهدينا الكرام، يعني بهذا البرنامج نختم يعني هذه الحلقة الخاصة أو البرنامج الخاصة عن غرس الأشجار التي يعطي فوائد كبرى وبناء الزراعة المستدامة. ومن غرس هذه الأشجار ستكون إثيوبيا تحقق رؤيتها في هذه السنة السابعة من خلال غرس 700 مليون شتلة في إثيوبيا. ندعو كل أطياف المجتمع الإثيوبي إلى غرس هذه الشتيلات حتى نجد الفوائد في الطبيعة وكذلك الفوائد التي تعود على إثيوبيا. شكرا لكم مشاهدينا الكرام على استماعكم ومشاهدتكم لهذا البث المباشر.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. You're still watching our special live coverage on the occasion of the Green Legacy Initiative, which is witnessing millions of trees being planted across the country. Thank you so much for having been with us, and we'll continue, of course, and our friends from the French department will take over. Do stay with us. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. You're still watching our special live coverage on the occasion of Ethiopians planting millions of trees in a single day. Now I'm joined by my colleagues from the French department and they're gonna take over. Do stay with us.
Bienvenue chers téléspectateurs. Aujourd'hui donc nous sommes ici en direct pour vous présenter sur l'initiative de l'héritage vers 2025. Donc je suis avec ma collègue de travail, Samraoui Godada. On va vous présenter toute l'histoire avec une petite introduction. Donc comme nous le savons, aujourd'hui a débuté l'initiative de l'héritage vert 2025 ici en Éthiopie pour planter 700 millions de plantes en une seule journée. Donc c'est ce que le Premier ministre Abiy Ahmed a donné comme une déclaration plutôt tôt le matin à partir de 6 heures pour nous informer, et tous les citoyens éthiopiens à travers le pays ont commencé à planter ces plantes. Donc comme nous le savons, on est en saison de pluie. L'initiative de l'héritage vert a commencé en 2019. Ça a été lancé bien sûr par notre Premier ministre Abiy Ahmed. Donc comme nous le savons, cette initiative lutte contre la déforestation. Il y a beaucoup de phases. Ça vise à lutter contre la déforestation. Il y en a aussi la résilience au changement climatique. Beaucoup de choses sont soulignées sur cette initiative de l'héritage vert. Donc, comme nous le savons, notre Premier ministre Abiy Ahmed a donné un message hier. Et il a été aussi dans plusieurs villes éthiopiennes. Il a été aussi à Djemma. Ma collègue va vous donner quelques informations à propos de ça aussi. Donc, il avait donné un message en disant demain matin, c'est-à-dire aujourd'hui, à partir de 6 heures, la porte est ouverte pour tous les citoyens pour planter en général 700 millions de plantes. Donc, c'est ça son message. Donc, je vais vous donner aussi encore des informations. De plus, ma collègue va continuer. Vas-y, Samli.
Merci Aïda. Pour moi, aujourd'hui, c'est un jour qui marque une mobilisation écologique historique est en cours en Éthiopie, l'initiative héritage vert. Ça veut dire, on peut aussi dire un projet ambitieux, visionnaire et un record aussi. Donc l'initiative héritage vert, connue aussi sous le nom GreenLegacy, c'est un mouvement national pour lutter contre le changement climatique et protéger l'air et la terre en général. Donc, comme vous l'avez dit, Aïda, lancé en 2019 par le Premier ministre Abiy Ahmed, et l'initiative héritage vert vise à planter 20 milliards d'arbres pour lutter contre la déforestation, le changement climatique, la dégradation des terres. Et donc, c'est un programme d'héritage vert est en cours à travers du pays aujourd'hui. Aujourd'hui, le Premier ministre Abiy Ahmed a officiellement lancé, comme tu l'as dit tout à l'heure, le programme de plantation de 7 millions de plantes d'arbres le 24 juillet 2025 au palais de Juma Abadfar. Il a lancé aujourd'hui. Donc, lors de lancement, comme il a déclaré que l'histoire de l'utopie va changer. Ça veut dire que c'était un privilège d'être témoin de cette transformation. Comme vous le savez, le changement climatique affecte le monde entier, surtout les pays en développement. Donc l'utopie est devenue un symbole de plantation d'arbres pour lutter contre le changement climatique. Le changement climatique cause de nombreux problèmes, des températures montent, les sécheresses, les inondations augmentent, la biodiversité du carbone et restaurant les terres abîmées. Donc, il protège aussi les espèces locales et améliore la qualité des sols. En général, cette initiative, ce programme de l'héritage vert. Donc, mobilise ce programme, c'est un projet qui mobilise toute la population, des écoles aux communautés, GreenLegacy, donc aide l'Éthiopie à mieux résister au changement climatique et on prépare un avenir plus durable aux générations futures. Donc, cet projet est devenu un véritable mouvement national, implique les écoles, les jeunes, les organisations, les universités, les communautés en général, donc même les anciens religieuses. Donc ça marque tout. C'est une grande histoire en général.
Donc je voulais ajouter aussi le thème de cette année, c'est renouvellement des plantations. Donc tout à l'heure, on avait parlé aussi avec notre collègue Antenna à la radio et il nous a bien expliqué. Et il a dit que notre pays, l'Éthiopie, est en train de se développer avec cet héritage vert, non seulement au continent africain, mais à travers le monde. Donc ça symbolise que l'Éthiopie est en train de se renouveler. On attend plus. Donc, il y en a beaucoup des aspects clés que j'ai trouvés lors de cette initiative lancée en 2025. Le cœur de cette initiative de plantation, c'est de 7 milliards de plantes dans la continuité ambitieuse du programme lancé par notre premier ministre Abiy Ahmed en 2019. Donc, je t'avais dit que cette initiative, premièrement, ça aide à lutter contre la déforestation. Ça aide à renforcer et restaurer les dégradations et renforcer les climats, au changement climatique. Donc, ça souligne que nous, les Éthiopiens, nous sommes vraiment fiers, comme le Premier ministre Abiy Ahmed a donné un message, et on attend plus à planter et on verra tous les changements.
Oui, comme tu l'as dit, l'Éthiopie aussi affecte par ces changements climatiques. Mais aujourd'hui, l'Éthiopie joue un rôle clé contre le changement climatique. Donc c'est un symbole. Comme il a dit le Premier ministre aujourd'hui, l'histoire de l'Éthiopie va changer.
Exactement.
Tu vois, c'est un privilège de faire partie de cette histoire.
Ouais.
Donc c'est bon d'être un exemplaire au monde entier. Donc tous les pays doivent apprendre aussi à cette initiative pour lutter et protéger notre terre.
Ouais, il a donné une conclusion en disant que mobilisons-nous tous en participant à la campagne historique. Donc il veut que les citoyens créent quelque chose de fierté et de solidarité en s'unitant ensemble. Donc, on est tous fiers, c'est ça.
Oui, comme il a dit aussi, ce que j'ai vu, c'est nous les Éthiopiens, quand on est ensemble, on peut faire tout. On peut rêver grand et comme le grand barrage de la Renaissance éthiopienne aussi le garde, on a un grand rêve. Donc, ce programme de l'initiative Héritage Vert aussi devenu un symbole historique qui nous réunissent pour un seul et un grand rêve ensemble, un grand objectif.
Donc, on est tous fiers de la part de moi et ma Samrawit. Donc, merci chers téléspectateurs d'avoir suivi toutes nos informations. Donc, on vous souhaite une bonne journée et au revoir.
Merci.
እስካሁን ድረስ የደረስንበት ሪፖርት እንደሚያሳየው ከቀኑ 7 ሰዓት ላይ 517.3 ሚሊዮን ችግኞች ተተክለዋል። ይህም የእቅዳችን 74% ማለት ነው። በቀጣይ ጊዜያት ተጨማሪ የተከላ ስራዎች ይከናወናሉ። እስካሁን ድረስ የተሳተፉ ሰዎች ብዛት 21.6 ሚሊዮን ደርሷል። ይህም የሚያሳየው ኢትዮጵያውያን የመሪያቸውን ጥሪ ተቀብለው ይህንን ግብ ለማሳካትና በአንድ ጀንበር 700 ሚሊዮን ችግኝ በመትከል ከዚህ በፊት በራሳችን ተይዞ የነበረውን ክብረ ወሰን ለማሻሻል በቁርጠኝነት እየሰሩ መሆኑን ነው። ከመትከል ባሻገር የሚለው የዘንድሮ መሪ ቃል በዋነኝነት የሚገልጸው ችግኞችን ምንተክለው በአጠቃላይ ለሀገር ደህንነት፣ ለቀጣይ ሀገር ህልውናና ለትውልድ ዘላቂና አዛላቂ የሆነ ልማትን ለማረጋገጥ ነው። የምንተክላቸው ችግኞች ነገ ወዲያ በቡና ኤክስፖርታችን ላይ ተጨማሪ እሴት የሚጨምሩ፣ በአትክልትና ፍራፍሬ ግኝቶቻችን ላይ ተጨማሪ እሴት የሚጨምሩ በማርና በሌሎች የእንስሳት ተዋጽኦዎች ምርቶቻችን ላይም እሴት ያላቸውና ቅድምም እንደተገለጸው በሁሉም ረገድ ለሀገር እድገት ለቀጣይ የኢኮኖሚ ብልጽግና ተጨማሪ እሴት የሚጨምሩ አትክልቶችና ችግኞች ናቸው። ችግኞቹ ቅድም እንደተባለው በሶስት የሚከፈሉ ለደን ወይም ለጫካ የሚሆኑ እንስሳት መኖና ለአትክልትና ፍራፍሬ የሚሆኑ ናቸው። አጠቃላይ የተከላ ሂደቱ ይህን ይመስላል። መረጃዎች ጠዋት ጀምሮ የምንሰጣቸው መረጃዎች ከታች ጀምሮ እንዴት እንደሚሰበሰቡ እንዲሁም ደግሞ ተጠምረው እዚህ እንዴት እንደሚቀርቡና እኛ እነዚህን ቁጥሮች በምን አይነት መንገድ ደምረን በየጊዜው አፕዴት እየሰጠናችሁ እንደሆነ አንድ ባለሙያ ማብራሪያ እንዲሰጥ እናደርጋለን። ቴዎድሮስ ካሳሁን ይባላል። የአረንጓዴ አሻራ የቴክኒክ ቡድኑ የቴክኖሎጂ ኤክስፐርት ነው። እሱን ጋብዛለሁ።
እሺ እንደምን ዋላችሁ? አመሰግናለሁ። እንግዲህ የአረንጓዴ አሻራ ስራ ከ2015 ጀምሮ የጂኦሎኬሽን መረጃ መሰብሰብ የተጀመረበት ጊዜ ነው። ከአንድ ጀንበር ተከላ ጀምሮ አሁን የአመታዊ ተከላዎችን ጨምሮ ማለት ነው። ስለዚህ ዘንድሮም እንግዲህ የአንድ ጀንበር ተከላን መረጃ ፍሰቱን ጠብቆ እንዲሄድ ለማድረግ የተሰሩ ቅድመ ስራዎች አሉ። የአንደኛው ስራ የችግኝ መትከያ ቦታዎችን መለየት ነው። ስለዚህ በዚህም ክልሎች በራሳቸው እቅድ ዘንድሮ እዚህ ቦታ ነው የምንተክለው ብሎ ያሏቸውን ቦታዎች ከአኗል እቅዳቸው ጋር በማስተሳሰር ለይተው አምጥተዋል። ይሄ ጂኦሎኬት የተደረገ ወይም መገኛው የሚታወቅ የመትከያ ቦታ ከቀደሙ መረጃዎች ጋር ተገናዝቦ ያ ማለት አምና ከተከልንበት ቦታ 2015 ከተከልንበት ቦታ ጋር ተገናዝቦ ዘንድሮ ያልተተከለበት ቦታ መሆኑ ከተረጋገጠ በኋላ ተመዝግቦ 13084 የተከላ ቦታዎች ተዘጋጅተዋል ማለት ነው። ስፓሻል መረጃቸው ወይም የመገኛ መረጃቸው ተሰብስቧል ማለት ነው። ስለዚህ እነዚህ መረጃዎች ካደራጀን በኋላ ምንድነው የተደረገው ነገር ለእያንዳንዱ ሳይት አትሊስት አንዳንድ ሪፖርተር እንዲኖር ካልሆነ ግን አቅራቢያ ካሉ ቦታዎች ላይ 2-3 ሳይቶች ላይ አንድ ሪፖርተር እንዲሆን ተደርጎ ስልክ ቁጥር መዝግበናል። በዛ ስልክ ቁጥር መሰረት መልእክት የምንለዋወጠው ያው በ699 አጭር የቴክስት ቁጥር ነው። ስለዚህ ተከላው ቢጠናቀቅም ባይጠናቀቅም ፕሮግረሱንም ሪፖርት ይደረጋል። መጠናቀቁንም ቦታው ላይ ያሉ ልጆች አስቀድመን ስልክ የሰበሰብናቸው ልጆች ብቻ ለቴሌ ይላካል። ያ ከተላከ በኋላ ከዛ ቁጥር ብቻ ነው ሪፖርት የሚመጣው ማለት ነው። ያ ቁጥር ደግሞ ሲፈልገው ከፍ ሲፈልገው ዝቅ እንዳያደርግ አስቀድሞ እዛ ቦታ ላይ ሊተከል የሚገባ የችግኝ ቁጥር ይታወቃል። ክልሎቹ ራሳቸው ከሚተክሉት የችግኝ ዝርያ በሳይንሳዊ መንገድ የሚቀመጥ የክፍተት መለኪያ አለ። በዛ መሰረት ለዛ ቦታ የሚመጥነውን ችግኝ ቁጥር ይታወቃል። ያ ቁጥር ከጂኦሎኬሽን መረጃው ጋር አብሮ ተያይዟል። ስለዚህ ያ ሪፖርተር ምንድነው የሚያደርገው? ያችን ቁጥር ብቻ ነው መላክ የሚችለው። ከዛ በላይ ቢልክ አይቀበልም። ከዛ በታች ቢልክ ግን ያ ቁጥር እስኪሞላ ድረስ ለምሳሌ ጧት አስጀምሮ 1000 ችግኝ ከተከለ 1000 ተክያለሁ ብሎ ሪፖርት ማድረግ ይችላል። ምሳ ሰዓት 10000 ካስተከለ እያለ እየተደመረ ይመጣል ማለት ነው። ልክ ለሳይቱ የተመደበለት ቁጥር ሲያልቅ ግን ከዛ በላይ አይቀበልም። በዛ መሰረት ነው ቁጥሮች እስካሁን እየተደመሩ አሁን የተገለጸው ቁጥር 74% የደረሰው ማለት ነው። ስለዚህ እስካሁን ባለው ሂደት ጤናማ ነው። ምንም ችግር አልገጠመንም። የኔትወርክም ሌሎችም ችግሮች አላጋጠሙንም። ስለዚህ ለየሳይቱ ለየተከላ ቦታው የተመደበው ችግኝ ቁጥር በጥሩ ሁኔታ እየተከታተል እንገኛለን ማለት ነው። አመሰግናለሁ።
Très chers auditeurs, donc nous sommes revenus, donc nous allons continuer notre introduction, information. Donc on a reçu quelques informations que 21 millions de personnes jusqu'à présent ont participé à cette initiative de l'héritage vert de cette année. Donc
on a aussi 74% jusqu'à maintenant. Donc la campagne de 2025 prévoit 8,4 milliards de plantes produites, mais avec un accent sur 7 000 milliards de plantes pour planter cette année. Donc ce qui différencie cette année, c'est de planter des plantes sont des espèces indigènes qui aident à améliorer la production alimentaire et qui aident aussi à progresser le développement économique. Donc les arbres fruitiers sont cette plante ont assisté et aussi les plantes améliorer la qualité des sols. Donc c'est ce qui différencie cette année. Donc 700 millions de plantes en une seule journée a commencé aujourd'hui. C'est pourquoi on est ici pour parler. Donc l'initiative de l'héritage vert aussi activement contribue aux objectifs de développement durable des Nations Unies. Ça veut dire lutter contre le changement climatique et protection de la vie terrestre.
Exactement. Donc j'ai aussi reçu quelques informations. Le matin à 9h, c'est-à-dire, j'ai reçu qu'on avait planté au total 103 millions de plantes à travers le pays. Et après 2h à 11h du matin, ça arrivait à 355,5 millions de plantes. C'est-à-dire, ça augmente. Et on peut voir que l'Éthiopie est en train de se développer et on espère beaucoup de choses au futur et voilà.
Oui, je vois aussi toutes les communautés, les jeunes, les femmes, les hommes participent à cet événement grand. Est un symbole exemplaire pour l'Éthiopie, surtout pour assurer la production alimentaire. En même temps, en luttant contre le changement climatique. C'est un bon exemple.
Exactement. Ça aide aussi à lutter aussi à la dégradation aussi. Donc, c'est quelque chose qui symbolise l'Éthiopie, donc on est tous fiers.
On a vu aussi le changement, tu vois, en voyant, comme des habitants de la ville d'Addis Ababa, en regardant les résultats, on a vu des endroits propres sur lesquels on peut passer du temps.
Voilà, on peut s'amuser, il y a des nouveaux parcs qui sont en train de s'ouvrir pour les petits, pour même marcher ensemble, voilà, pour faire toutes sortes d'activités. Donc, je t'avais dit aussi, notre Premier ministre, il avait donné un message, il a dit, mobilisons-nous et participons à cette campagne historique. Ensemble, nous cultiverons non seulement des arbres, mais aussi une Éthiopie plus fertile et plus verte. Donc, il est vraiment satisfait. Cette initiative, ça ne peut pas seulement occuper les jeunes, les personnes qui sont âgées, les petits, ils sont en train de planter. Donc, on attend 700 millions d'arbres en une seule journée. Voilà.
Tu as raison, Aïda. On a vu aussi le changement, les résultats par notre ville, capitale ville Addis Ababa. C'est le développement du corridor, c'est partie de cette verte initiative d'avoir une ville propre et agréable pour les habitants, tu vois. Donc c'est bon. Donc cette initiative de héritage vert aussi, c'est une vision d'avenir. Voilà. Donc c'est un acte de foi envers les générations futures. C'est pas pour nous, mais c'est pas seulement pour nous, mais pour les générations futures. C'est pas pour l'Éthiopie seulement, mais pour le monde. L'Éthiopie contribue à cette initiative pour atteindre les objectifs des Nations Unies, lutter contre le changement climatique et aussi, tu vois, dans le monde entier, le changement climatique affecte tout le monde.
Exactement. Donc, ça affecte donc notre pays, l'Éthiopie, sera développée de plus en plus. Et notre citoyen, tous les Éthiopiens au coin, je t'ai dit, les plus âgés, les petits, les adolescents, donc ils vont planter ces plantes et ils vont nous mettre en œuvre. Voilà.
Oui, ce que j'aime aussi, c'est l'Éthiopie peut être un pays en développement, peut agir concrètement face à l'urgence climatique, tu vois. Et on peut aussi inspirer une mobilisation populaire massive. Ça montre le programme d'aujourd'hui. Partout en Éthiopie, les jeunes, tous les habitants participent à cet événement.
Oui, nous sommes tous fiers. Donc voilà, pour aujourd'hui, je pense que ça va continuer et notre collègue va tout vous informer dans toutes les langues. Et merci d'avoir suivi toutes nos informations et bonne journée.
Ladies and gentlemen, you have been watching our special coverage when it comes to Ethiopians planting millions of trees. And this is no ordinary day, as you have been following across the country, from the highlands to the lowlands. Ethiopians from all walks of life are coming together in an extraordinary act of unity and environmental commitment in schools, government offices, farms, churches, mosques, whatever, what have you, and millions of citizens are rolling up their sleeves to take part in what could be a record-setting effort. And we've just received new developments, and the progress so far is really amazing. So far, 74% has been achieved, and over 21 million people have participated in these amazing tree planting campaigns. And thank you very much for having been with us so far. We will continue our live coverage in other languages and other programs. And we will, of course, keep you posted on the latest. Thank you again for having been with us. You have been watching EBC World, the voice of Pan-Africanism.
ተላስተልን ተመልካቾቻችን የዕለቱን ዜናዎች በምልክት ቋንቋ አቀርባለሁ። ጠቅላይ ሚኒስትር አብይ አህመድ በአንድ ጀንበር 700 ሚሊዮን ችግኞችን የመትከል መርሃ ግብር በጅማ በይፋ አስጀምረዋል። ጠቅላይ ሚኒስትሩ በመርሃ ግብሩ ማስጀመሪያ ላይ ባደረጉት ንግግር በአንድ ጀንበር 700 ሚሊዮን ችግኞች መትከል እጅግ ትልቁ እመርታና በዓለም ትልቁ የአንድ ቀን ተከላ ውጤት ነው ብለዋል። ይሄ ኢትዮጵያ ትላልቅ ነገር አልማና አቅዳ ህዝቦቿን አስተባብራ ማሳካት እንደምትችል ትልቅ ማሳያ እንደሆነ ጠቁመዋል። እኛ እስከ ዛሬ ይህን ሁሉ ችግኝ መትከል የቻልነው ሀብታም ስለሆንን ሳይሆን ሀብታም ልብ ያላቸው ዜጎች ስላለን ብለዋል ጠቅላይ ሚኒስትሩ በንግግራቸው። እኛ ኢትዮጵያውያን አርቆ ማየትና በጋራ መቆም እንደምችል በልፋትና በድካም ተርፋማ መሆን እንደምንችል ለዓለም የምናሳይ ህዝቦች ነን ብለዋል። ልክ እንደ ህዳሴው በአረንጓዴ አሻራውም እስኬታማ ሆነላል ያሉት ጠቅላይ ሚኒስትር አብይ የኢትዮጵያ ታሪክ ይቀየራል፣ የዛ ታሪክ ጥፋት አካል መሆን መታደል ነውና እንኳን ደስ አላችሁ ሲሉ አክለዋል። ዓመታት ለኢትዮጵያ ኢኮኖሚ አስተዋጽኦ የሚያደርጉ የተለያዩ አይነት ችግኞች ተተክለዋል ብለዋል። ለኢትዮጵያ የውጭ ንግድ ከፍተኛ አስተዋጽኦ የሚያደርጉ እንደ ቡናና አቮካዶ አይነት ተክሎች በመርሃ ግብሩ በስፋት መትከላቸውን ገልጸዋል። የኢትዮጵያ ኢኮኖሚ ከፍተኛ እድገት አሳይቷል ያሉት ምክትል ጠቅላይ ሚኒስትሩ አረንጓዴ አሻራ ለኢኮኖሚ እድገቱ ከፍተኛ አስተዋጽኦ ማድረጉን ጠቅሰዋል። የዛሬው ዕለት መቻላችንን ደግመን ለዓለም የምናሳይበት ዕለት ነው ሲሉ የመንግስት ኮሚኒኬሽን አገልግሎት ሚኒስትር ዴኤታ አቶ ተስፋዬ ጎበዛይ ገለጹ። ሚኒስትር ዴኤታው በአንድ ጀንበር 700 ሚሊዮን ችግኞችን የመትከል መርሃ ግብሩ መጀመሩን አብስረዋል። በአንድ ጀንበር በርካታ ችግኞች በመትከል እስከዛሬ የራሳችን ክብረት ወሰን ስናሻሽል መጥተናል ያሉት አቶ ተስፋዬ ዛሬም አዲስ ታሪክ ጽፈን ለዓለም ለማሳየት ተዘጋጅተናል ብለዋል። ኢትዮጵያውያን የዛሬ ዓመት 617 ሚሊዮን በመትከል ክብረ ወሰን መያዛቸውን አስታውሰው ዛሬም 700 ሚሊዮን ችግኞችን በመትከል የራሳችን ክብረ ወሰን የምናሻሽልበት ዕለት እንደሆነ ተናግረዋል። ሁሉም ማህበረሰብ ክፍል ለዚህ ዝግጁ መሆኑን አውስተዋል። ችግኞች የምንተክለው የአየር ንብረት ለውጥን ለመከላከል፣ የምግብ ዋስትናችን ለማረጋገጥ፣ ግድቦቻችን ከደለል ለመጠበቅ እንዲሁም ሌሎች በርካታ ጠቃሚዎች ለማግኘት መሆኑን ሚኒስትር ዴኤታው ጠቅሰዋል። የአዲስ አበባ ከንቲባ አዳነች አቤቤ በአረንጓዴ አሻራ መርሃ ግብር ዓለምን የሚያስደምም ስራ እየሰራ ነው ሲሉ ተናገሩ። ከንቲባ አዳነች አቤቤ በአንድ ጀንበር 700 ሚሊዮን ችግኞች የመትከል መርሃ ግብር ላይ አረንጓዴ አሻራቸውን አኑረዋል። ከንቲባ በዚህ ወቅት እንዳሉት አረንጓዴ አሻራ የምግብ ሉዓላዊነትን ለማረጋገጥና አዲስ አበባን አረንጓዴ ለማልበስ እንዲሁም ለነዋሪዎቿ ምቹ ለማድረግ ትልቅ ጠቀሜታ አለ ብለዋል። ማህበረሰባችን በጋራ ተስማምቶ ከሰራቸው ስራዎች መካከል የአረንጓዴ አሻራ መርሃ ግብር አንዱ ነው ያሉት ከንቲባ ሁላችንም በተባበረ ግን ችግኞቻችን በመትከል ታሪክ ልንሰራ ይገባል ሲሉ መልእክት አስተላልፈዋል። በመጨረሻም አረንጓዴ አሻራ ችግኝ ከመትከል ባሻገር መላው የኢትዮጵያ ሕዝብ ለአንድ ዓላማ ተሰልፈው ድንቅ ስራ እየሰሩበት መሆኑን የግብርና ሚኒስትር ዶክተር ግርማ አማንቴ ገለጹ። የግብርና ሚኒስትሩ በዛሬው ዕለት ቤካ አረንጓዴ አሻራቸውን አኑረዋል። ኢትዮጵያ 50 ቢሊዮን ችግኝ ለመትከል የያዘችው እቅድ ከግብ ለማድረስ የዚህ ዓመት ሳይጨምር ወደ 40 ቢሊዮን ችግኝ መተከሉን ገልጸዋል። መርሃ ግብሩ በቂ ቅድመ ዝግጅት የተደረገበት መሆኑን አንስተው በተሳካ ሁኔታ እየተካሄደ መሆኑን ገልጸዋል። የዕለቱ ዋና ዋና ዜናዎች እንዲነበሩ መልካም ቆይታ